Welcome everyone to another fun The Future of the Linux Desktop live stream here, straight from our code headquarter here. And in previous videos you've seen me that I switched to Wayland because obviously here with our precious T2 Linux, certainly need to, also camera there. T2 just draw open source Linux for over 20 years. And I've been a little bit late with some things the last 10 years because I tried, it didn't work, and then that's like, whatever, I have other stuff to do. But for the YouTube video and staying here, bleeding edge and so on, we switched to Wayland. Previous video for those who are new to this stuff. So Wayland is how this video content here, display imaging stuff of application windows and so on, is drawn on with the hardware, GPU, graphic acceleration in frame buffers and outputs and stuff. And this, for those who are new to this stuff, first of all, I'm a little bit also, and this is also the problem. So the point of this video, there are, in my opinion, many people always hear about Wayland in the future and it's amazing. And first of all, I'm not amazed with this thing of the composition manager being the window manager of the whole server, meaning you have Wayland and Sway and whatnot. And because all the configuration and stuff is totally different, even output configuration, it's, in my opinion, totally insane. So instead of like X render and other utilities and set background and stuff, X set root and so on, you have Sway and Wayland and this and that. But I got quite comfortable, and it's also, honestly, the user visible stuff is barely noticeable, right? You don't really see if you have Xorg or Wayland. It's like, yeah, you have pixels on the screen. But for me, the real problem is that so much stuff is not working 100%. So besides this set output configuration stuff and background, which, fun fact, in Sway somehow I can't set the background. I tried with that yesterday, 10 minutes, like, yeah, whatever. Background pictures don't work for me, whatever, YOLO. But the real shocker is, in a couple of videos you've seen me that I was fiddling around because previous video I've custom patched OBS and the patches upstream accepted in the meantime. Here's this precious sun keys, stop, repeat, properties, undo, redo, foreground, background. And previously I had here super nice scene selections, custom, like the most amazing Linux YouTube OBS studios, like here's the scenes, like scene 1 to 3 and so on, and it was amazing. And since I switched to Wayland for better video capturing performance and all the other fun stuff, it's like, yeah, hotkeys don't work. So this are here hotkeys, and I thought, like, yeah, it's some patch, so all the hotkeys here are empty, as maybe this is also amazing. I can't scene select why this is open, so this looks like this, and this is a total, sure, I can live with it, with just like sometimes selecting the wrong scene and rolling the mouse over there, and it's like, yeah, and obviously if I press here stuff, then nothing works, to my surprise. Yeah, Qt and the latest and greatest stuff, and it turns out I thought it's like, yeah, some patch, some Sway, but no, it's like, it's not supported, and for many years. So I'm like more than shocked. It's like, that is the state of the Linux desktop. And so other people also, not only OBS but alert launcher and whatnot, it's like Wayland does not allow clients to register global hotkeys. At the moment it was 2017, I think. This is probably still the case. I tried to Google this, I didn't really find that much about this. So apparently there have been some IRC and whatnot, Matrix and whatnot, the latest and greatest Discord like chat service. But this is hilarious. So normal people want this for their office work of setting actions of whatever kind. Can be anything from timing your contract work, other alarms whatsoever. So like, basically it's not there. And sure, OBS you could say, yeah, but who is bloody streaming to video streaming services in 2021 on the Linux desktop? Like, sure, that is a niche use case, but yeah, it obviously affect also gaming this or whatnot. I'm actually honestly shocked. And so their stuff is like for the security. So it's like some way here, like, yeah, YOLO won't implement. This is a security measure. And correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't find anything that this would work. And this is this kind of stuff that I've been in Linux, not new, not like all the other people like, yeah, no, let's do Linux. I'm doing this for 20 years. And this is like 1998, right? In my opinion, that it's like 1998, like, yeah, sure, some hotkeys don't work. But 20 years in total was the first day of Linux, 30 years of Linux development, and 2021 we don't have hotkeys anymore, because who needs freaking hotkeys for, is it this or that? Yeah, this is a problem of small print there, of like, yeah, navigating there with the mouse. Certainly less ideal than just clicking there or there or there. I'm shocked, and also this attitude of developers at Red Hat and SUSE or Ubuntu is like, yeah, YOLO won't implement security. Also, so much security issues, but global hotkeys. Also, security, I understand that you don't want to key press snoop everything from your web browser for probably Chrome web hotkey API for your website to listen to all the stuff, but you surely can create some stuff of not intercepting all key scan codes, key presses, but just like registering a handful of, like capturing F1 or foreground. And yeah, this, by the way, this stuff has proper obviously, right, Sun workstations, surely they defined X key symbol stuff for all those fancy, amazing keys here. Not to speak of your multimedia keys of volume and anyway. So yeah, this is when people always tell me, can you not be a little bit more positive? It's like, yeah, 20 years later, they switched all the graphic subsystem, and all you get is not hotkeys anymore. For those who are new to this stuff, what are we talking about? So this is actually the new stuff. So this is the old stuff. Actually, this is quite convoluted of CPU registers. It's like just some Wikipedia graphic. But basically, so what they mean is, here's a Linux kernel. Basically, the hardware, it's like, yeah, would not necessarily include your CPU registers, but whatever. So the Linux kernel with DRM, Direct Rendering Manager, kernel mode setting nowadays. Previously, of course, that wasn't necessarily the case, or NVIDIA blobs that are not recommended. And a whole bunch of GL libraries, GL, GLES, and Mesa, or other proprietary. And so what is happening is that your applications like Firefox and so on is communicating with the Xorg server with either driver dependent or independent X drivers, like those video, NVIDIA or Radeon and stuff, window manager, and or the new stuff, Wayland. And you see, this is not that different, just that with Wayland everything goes through GL. There is no other, or GL and mode setting. Actually, why do they not have a, I would think this Wayland stuff should actually also KMS, but yeah, whatever. This is the reason why I'm dreaming of my microkernel and thinking of, well, not only C and buffer overflows and everything in C as error prone as we currently see here, but this is also for me really depressing. For 20 years I'm hearing this, and all I got is, after 20 years, it takes the hotkeys from me. And in my opinion, the setup that with Wayland, the Wayland compositor is implementation dependent, and as I said some 10 minutes ago, this means that unlike an Xorg server where the Xorg configuration of output stuff and like brightness and so on is Xorg server, like Xrender and stuff protocol, is Wayland compositor specific, so that you cannot necessarily use the same background, key binding, and output configuration, right? So the output configuration for each bloody Wayland compositor is different. And for Wayland didn't even for Western didn't even quite work, and I'm not even sure with Sway. I even plugged the cables physically different in here because with one, maybe with Western, I couldn't even get this output configuration to work at all. Maybe some glitch or regression, but anyway, so situation. So also, what changed for the user? For the user, not much changed, except that now he needs to learn all the commands of Xrender and whatnot, and the application developer needs to implement all the Wayland API. And Wayland, here's some Wayland diagram also, so Wayland compositor. FDev came as, so basically this is just switching the decade-old Xorg server code, which sure is C and is regular old C code, not that amazing, with new C code, a new compositor that is implementation specific in terms of Western, Mutter, Kevin, Wayland, Enlightenment, and so on. And application toolkit stuff, GTK, Qt needs to be rewritten, or was already in the meantime rewritten. Not everything works. For example, we tested some other live stream, some user asked, but Emacs somehow did not work with GTK. Native Wayland for some reason, so that even in my opinion, even though Wayland is already a decade in next generation desktop and a lot of people are using this without even knowing on Reddit and stuff, for the user it's even more code and more configuration, because for supporting old applications you still have Wayland, is it X Wayland? Already starting to get confused here with all the, is it called X Wayland? Maybe it's called X Wayland, is it? Starting. I probably should have this running right now. We can PSX grep server, or I think it's probably X Wayland. Obviously it is. So that is started transparently from a supporting compositor for supporting old applications. So it's only more code and less code, and certainly rewriting everything, and 2021 hotkeys still don't work. For me, this is highly disappointing, because, I mean, for me, the difference is not that huge. I honestly barely see difference. Sure, performance could be tiny little bit better sometimes, but yeah, if you're running some epic thread-ripping Ryzen stuff, then it's like, what is a couple of % efficiency also, and hardware isolated video playback. Previous videos with Firefox, where this was in first supported, and then, however, you don't even get too much out of that, because nowadays the videos usually some latest codec of VP9 or whatever that's not necessarily hardware isolated. So switching to all of that for VA API hardware isolated Firefox, and in the end you get such YouTube videos that are not hardware isolated on last year's hardware anyway, unless you have the latest and greatest and state of the art. But yeah, all in all, and honestly, this stuff still looks the same, right? We had Netscape in 1998, probably, or 2000, whenever. Netscape Navigator that became Mozilla Firefox. And honestly, for me, not much has changed, right? For 20 years, except regressions, more regressions, switching tools. And at the end of the day, some stuff doesn't work anymore, like freaking backgrounds, to have here some nice background. Not that it needed that much, but would be nice if that still works, right? And hotkeys or other stuff. But yeah, that is my frustration with what the big famous popular developers doing there, because in the name of the future, obviously, and like, yeah. And the Grey says, oh, just install H265 in browsers. Yeah, that's right. I actually wanted to mention this. Good that you pointed out, wanted actually to say, or you use some browser plugin to curse YouTube to send you older fashioned videos of H264 or 5 or something to you, and not the latest and greatest VP9 and AV1 and stuff, which obviously is only hardware isolated if you have the latest and greatest hardware, and matching open source, preferably driver support glue there. But last but not least, for me, I would be the same productive if I would take here some vintage hardware with some S3 Matrix and ATI and stuff, NVIDIA. And I have some Windows, I have some freaking terminals, all right, here. And although, I mean, in some way it's even one step back, because previously I was running like 20 RxVTs in Xorg, and now I have this futuristic tiling window manager, and it's like, yeah, now the usability, the graphic artwork of looks even like a good old-fashioned Linux virtual terminal thing of just text, because tiling window manager, which honestly I wasn't even the greatest fan. I got a little bit used to that. I only switched to that for Wayland compositor, of not having window manager decoupled from a compositor. and I have to run Sway for actually video capture to actually work, and because Western is only proof of concept implementation. And anyway, so in many ways, it's not an improvement. And I was running on Xorg like others. This was called, what was it called? Compits. So this 3D spinning cube thing that people thought is cool here was already a thing in 2006 or something, which is like, yeah, only 8 years into my Linux usage, and already like 14, 15 years ago. Also here real with 3D rounded stuff, which actually looks pretty cool. Didn't see that previously. So yeah, this was working with Xorg, with Composition Manager and stuff, and now we don't have hotkeys anymore. Anyway, that's only one I wanted to share, that people are aware, or where my frustration also comes from when each thing you upgrade, you stuff like doesn't work, proof of concept, background, this and that, video capture, hotkeys is like, and recurring theme of the only constant is regression and change, or the only constant is change and regressions in that order probably, and why I'm not really impressed anymore. Recurring theme here, not only because of everything written in error prone and manually pointer string arithmetic buffer over and underflow, and memory leak and use after free C, but also of, yeah, re-implement everything, and then even after a decade, it's not like they re-implemented this yesterday, right? They re-implemented this for over 10 years already, and we still don't have hotkeys anymore. It's like, yeah. Leave in the comments below what you think of all this stuff. Do you even notice you run Wayland, or do you run it intentionally? What is your impression and stuff? But yeah, or do you have some solution for global shortcuts, or what is your take on the security of, like, yeah, this is a security measure. Anyway, that's it mostly for today. We have 2 more comments. We have Ella writes, why doesn't the compositor just have the permission system allowing some clients to do privileged things such as screen recording and hotkey registration? Yeah, ask the developers. And in my opinion, I don't know offhand how this worked. Maybe actually I implemented, I'm not looking this up now, I implemented X hotkey stuff for when I re-implemented some macOS like volume thing. How did I call this macOS? Do I have this even still online? There was something back in the day, PB buttons D or something, and this looked just super ugly, and I re-implemented there some thing of probably this nice macOS. Did I call this macOS D? Maybe I even called it like that. That mimicked the macOS. Not even sure what's here in terms of marketing thing. Not sure what I was thinking there. Anyway, and probably for that, do we even have? We should have this in. So here probably. So also, why do we have here bin? I'm not sure why I called this bin. Evas XOSD, which of this? Maybe I don't remember what F1 for sure used. Evas. Oh, you know what? I think I'm not even dealing with key code theory. I think this is probably the PB buttons daemon did, and I probably only intercepted the events here of this daemon. That is probably how that worked. Anyway, so yeah, however this worked in X. But the argument is for the security, and not all applications should sniff all your key codes. Again, nothing wrong with Wayland, with OBS or any other application registering 1, or like, I would even only need maximum of 10, or maybe with shift combination here, maybe 20. And I would not have a problem of capturing like 10, 20, like registering, OBS registering 10, 20 of those, and then just getting them globally. And even key capture wise, maybe even like not passing that to other clients so that this is exclusive. You would even realize so that you couldn't forward that for actually realizing if some application captures all your 102 keys or so, that if you type and like you don't get key events anymore, then because they go through the globally registered hotkey system, that probably would be fair enough if there would not be a mechanism to inject virtual key presses then, which probably you don't really need even less than hotkeys. But anyway, I have no words anymore. I'm just getting an old, probably I'm just getting an old human yelling at the new cloud there. But anyway, that's it for this video, and hope to see you soon. We also have one evil PS3 questions to manage movie, then 360 or GLX gears still. It wasn't GLX gears. Video acceleration, full screen video works in full HD. That worked already a decade ago. I don't have GLX gears though, so it's the other way around. Somewhat video acceleration works, but not GLX gears. But cheers. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support this and motivate me to work on all this fun stuff. Ika says Wayland compositors using Mesa to draw is much better to avoid code duplication. Yeah, but you could still have an XORG. I also really wonder if it was a good idea. Sure, the XORG protocol is all garbage stuff, but how is this Wayland better when it doesn't allow you even hotkeys or other features, or even video capture is a preliminary prototype stuff. And XORG also has with mode setting and glamour using 3D libraries to do X also, and this is often even slower, right? Plus, if you want to support older stuff that doesn't have the latest and greatest 3D stuff, you with Wayland potentially lose all the support for old hardware. Of course, I understand many people are like celebrating each old hardware removed, but or actually running stuff, new stuff without drivers, like think NVIDIA stuff with open source drivers, and otherwise virtual machine stuff that is then really slow and sluggish and stuff. Anyway, and Ika otherwise agrees that certain features are missing, which is, yeah, the state of the Linux sector, right? Professional people and companies, and after a decade, imagine Windows 10 would still have, or Mac OS Big Sur would have for 10 years features missing because, YOLO, whatever, security, and it's, yeah. Anyway, that's it for today.